I'm really happy to be here. I am grateful to be in Fort Worth, Texas. I am. I mean that. And I'm not, I guess no matter where I was, I would say I was grateful to be here, but I actually am really grateful to be here. This is our 13th city that we've hit this month. And, you know, there comes a point in a month-long jaunt around the country, which has just been wonderful and affirming and beautiful in every way, but where you're just sick of staying in hotel rooms and eating room service. It's not great for you. I have so many family and friends in Texas that this is after 13 hotel rooms in a row, I'm staying in a familiar bed here tonight, and I'm with familiar people, and I'm just grateful. It's like a spa treatment standing here. So thank you very much for having me. It's funny, every city, one of the reasons we wanted to do this in the first place was because you get such a distorted sense of what's happening in the country from the media. I love you too, thank you. I do. And of course, there's a lot of time and energy put into convincing you that you shouldn't love your fellow Americans, you should hate them. And so it's just important to get on the road and see them, and you realize that I don't care what they tell you on CNN, the hate level in America is incredibly low. Everyone's nice. And they're nice to each other. It's true. That's the main thing I've noticed. I mean, I don't have a TV, but you know, I check in from time to time on the telephone, and they're constantly telling you, America's a powder keg, it's about to explode. I don't know where the explosion's gonna happen. I haven't been there yet in 13 cities. Everywhere I've been, people are kind to each other. They're friendly, they're open, they're hilarious. They're exactly the people I grew up with. They're Americans, and they like each other, despite the efforts of their leaders to tell them they shouldn't. On the other hand, there is a lot of dark stuff going on, so much dark stuff going on, that I thought today I was trying to be as honest with myself as I can be. And of course, it is really easy to lie to yourself, and most of us enjoy it, I certainly do. But I had to ask myself, honestly, like, how do I feel? Not just about this election, but where we're going, you know, and where our children will be, and what kind of country this will be, not just next year, but in 15 years, 20 years, 100 years. And I'm being as sincere as I can be. I'm really hopeful. I really am. I may be the only person. I am really hopeful. There are the darkest forces I've ever seen arrayed against pretty much every single person in this room, and certainly against everything you believe in your families, and they're not gonna win. And let me tell you why I think that. And I'm not just talking about this election. And by the way, if you, as I do, in hotel rooms and airplanes, think of all the things that could go wrong. You know, not just in this election, but in the world. All the nuclear wars and EMP attacks and weird viruses that Tony Fauci creates in Chinese labs and unleashes on the world. Not that that could ever happen. And then you think of the fact that actually that did happen. Fauci did do that with your tax dollars and is still walking through my old dog park in DC with Secret Service protection that we're paying for. Then you think to yourself, you know, that's so, I know, boo, boo, boo. Well, exactly. But then you think to yourself, that's so unfair. That's so grotesque. In fact, the whole point of that exercise is to be unfair. The whole point of it is to shake your faith in the idea of fairness or justice. I mean, the whole point of all of this is to make you give up on the idea of fairness. They literally put an illiterate woman in charge of the White House press briefing. The whole job is being able to speak. And she can't talk. Everything's a malapropism. It's insane. Was that an accident? No, it was the whole point. It was the whole point. It's why we have a trans admiral. The whole point of it is to make you give up on the idea of justice and basic fairness, which is that the capable, hardworking people rise, and the people who can't speak English don't wind up as the White House spokesman. That's the definition of fairness. And the whole reason that they staff those jobs in the way they do, the whole reason they elevate the incompetent and punish the competent, is to make you give up on the idea that there is justice. And what I realized today thinking about it is that justice is bigger than the Justice Department, actually. Justice is bigger than this country, it's bigger than society. Justice exists separate from all of us. And we can distort justice all we want, but it doesn't change the fact that in the end there is justice. There is right and wrong. And the fair and good thing happens because good wins in the end. That is a fact. But that's not the only reason I'm hopeful. The second reason I'm hopeful is I'm commanded to be hopeful. It's the law. Every wedding you go to, they're always reading 1 Corinthians 13. It's like, I think it's the only verse in the Bible, actually. But if you actually read it, love is not the only thing mentioned. There's faith and then, exactly. And we're required to have it. It's not optional. It's not a byproduct of a sunny day. I feel hopeful today. No. Hope is what you have on purpose. It's intentional. Things don't seem to be going in the right direction. I don't see how we get out of this. It's like a Scooby-Doo episode. Oh my gosh, we're boxed in. But I know we will get out of it, actually. Maybe not in the way we want to, but in the end, we'll look back, and this is true in the life of every single person in this room. You will look back on the best moments in your life, the moments that changed you, that opened your eyes to true beauty, that made you a better person, that deepened your relationships with the people that you love. And you'll notice that those best moments were all the worst moments, actually. And I'm obviously saying this as someone who gets fired a lot. And that's been true I can't even keep track. My wife said to me the other day, how many times have you been fired? I don't know. Quite a few. Loved every one of them. In fact, I've loved them so much, I'm so used to this cycle of the worst things being the best things that this last time I got fired, I was like, oh, I'm psyched. Kind of psyched to be humiliated in public once in a while because I know it'll end well. And I know that I will learn something about myself. No, it's true. And so actually we have cause for hope no matter what happens. And I bet every single person in this room has a worst case scenario in mind for what happens in November. Oh, don't get me started, baby. That's the one heckle I could hear. Everybody in this room, everybody in this country actually is pretty worried about the future. And I'm here to say that we have an obligation to feel hopeful. We have grounds to feel hopeful. And let me be a little more specific about why I'm hopeful. Because you're actually on the right side. And for years, I covered politics in Washington where I lived, and I really tried to resist adding a moral cast to political differences. I mean, if we're arguing over the capital gains tax rate, and you think it should be 15 and I think it should be 35, maybe, one of us is right, probably me, of course. But it doesn't mean you're a bad person. We just disagree over a number. But that's not at all what we're seeing now. We're not seeing disagreements about how to make the country better. No one's even pretending that the program that you oppose and I oppose is going to make the country better or people happier. No, it's a program of death and destruction, of course. And that's become very obvious. Someone said, very wise in my life, said to me today, we should be grateful for how clear things are now. We don't need to lie to ourselves. It's super obvious. And I'll say for myself, I don't always know what's good, and I definitely don't always imagine I'm on the right side, having been on the wrong side, having endorsed the Iraq War. Like, I have a keen sense of my own absurdity. And there was, in fact, a mirror outside the bathroom in my hotel today when I walked out of the shower. So I was like, oh yeah, I am absurd. I recommend that to every middle-aged man, by the way, especially those who think they're successful. You really do have this image of yourself as a godlike figure. Kind of master of your fate, leader of your family, leader of men. Then you come out of the shower into the glare of the mirror and you're like, there's this lumpy primate in front of you with hair in the wrong places. And you're like, is that really the godlike leader of men? I don't think so. That's an absurd person. Who is that? Get the hell out of my bathroom. And you're like, oh wait, that's me. And the truth is, that is you, which is a good thing to know. In fact, I would make that mandatory for senators and members of Congress. I would. Take a good look at yourself. And I would put super bright overhead fluorescent lights in the John. I would. I have a lot of theories like that. That's why I'm not gonna get elected to anything. But here's the point. I'm not always certain that I'm on the right side, but I know evil when I see it, and that's exactly what they're selling. It's not a difference of opinion. It's anti-human. And that is exactly what it is. It's against people. It's just kind of that simple. It's not, you either think the greatest blessing in this life is other people, and the greatest duty you have in this life is to serve other people, particularly the people around you, the people that God puts right in your path, right there, your children, your spouse, your coworkers, your college roommates, but also your housekeeper and the waitress, the people who are right there in front of you. It's your job, not just your job, but your sacred duty. It's the main duty that you have is to those people, actual people. And if you believe that, and everybody should, and we should be reminded of that every day, awesome to send mosquito nets to a country you can't find on a map. Much better to make sure your housekeeper has a car. And we should be saying that. But most people don't really even need to be told that because that's where their joy comes from. And there are certain people, particularly in crowded elevators, who are annoying and too close. That's a fact. But in general, all of our joy comes from other people, all of it. And nothing else comes close. And, by the way, we spend our whole lives, I've spent a lot of my life worried about money, want to make more money. You ever make enough money? I ran into some friends of mine who've made enough money, and they can tell you, and I can tell you, it's fine, it's good not to be in debt, it's good not to be, paying off the credit card company at 25% interest. Why aren't they in prison, by the way? Sorry. Yeah. By the way, if Antifa was really radical, they'd say something about the credit card companies, wouldn't they? Wouldn't they? They wouldn't be attacking normal families in the park. They'd be attacking the banks that are impoverishing the country, wouldn't they? Isn't that what the radical would do? I think so. But what would the Praetorian Guard for the ruling class do? What would the bodyguard for, say, Goldman Sachs posing as Antifa do? They would try to sow race hatred and dissent in the country so you wouldn't notice that the country's being looted. Just saying. Anyway, here's the point. Wow, that was a tangent, but heartfelt. What I'm saying is that most people, the overwhelming majority of people, even people you think you disagree with, if I'm being totally honest, understand intuitively and live as though they understand and believe that other people are the point of life. Whether it's your own children or just the people in this room, it just brings you such satisfaction and joy. But there is a small group of people who somehow wound up in charge of the country and the world who think people are an impediment to progress, who are actually openly anti-people. They're affirmatively anti-people. And you know that because they don't like children. And you know they don't like children because if you're trying to raise them in this country, you know it's pretty much impossible. That they're being destroyed because the people in charge are setting out to destroy them. Whether it's with the screens or the filth or the drugs, which they're busy legalizing. Is that making us a happier country? No, it's destroying people. Is funding a war that can't be won with money that we don't have? Is that pro-people? No, the whole point of that is to kill people, which they have done. And if you think of it that way, you'll notice that almost all of their policies are against people. And I just don't think that's a winning program over time. I don't think people want that, actually, at all. I don't think the dream of, I'll just speak as a middle-aged man, I don't think the dream of most middle-aged people is never to have grandchildren because your kids have been castrated. I just don't think that. I mean, I think it's weird and wrong, but it's much deeper than that. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. The appetite for these programs, you see these people on television, AI is gonna come and, basically take your job away and make you useless, then we're gonna implant it in your brain and you'll be part robot. Actually. And I always wonder, is there a constituency for that? Is there a huge number of people in this country, 350 million, or they're 100 million who want to be half robot? And idle all day and take orders from machines? I've never met a single person who wants that. But that's what they're selling. They want that. So it's a pretty weird place to be in a country this big and truly diverse, and diverse in the best sense, lots of people with different opinions, to be ruled by people with an opinion that really represents like 0.5% of the population. First of all, it's not democracy. Second, it can't win over time. And I do find it very interesting that the person they hate most is Trump. And you have to ask yourself, because their hatred of Trump is like so crazy, so all-consuming, that what is that exactly? What is it about Trump? No, honestly. Is it that he's so right-wing? No, he's not. No, I'll tell you exactly why they hate Trump. Because he is relentlessly pro-human. He is the most human person ever to run for president. I love it. I get some people think it can be a little too human. I get it. But it is relentlessly human. Think about who he's running against. What do the last two Democratic nominees have in common? Neither one has ever uttered a human statement in public, ever. No, I mean it. Kamala Harris kissed her, air quotes here, husband with a mask on. Human beings don't do that. Maybe you're so neurotic you think you need to wear a mask outside. I feel sorry for you. Another living example of our broken mental health system. I feel compassion. But I can promise you, as someone who's been with his wife 40 years today, I met that girl 40 years today. I know her pretty well. September 23rd, 1984. And one thing I know about her, if I tried to kiss her with a mask on, she'd be so freaked out. I don't know what, I think she would assume I had a stroke. You don't kiss your wife with a mask on because that defeats the purpose, which is touching her with your lips. I don't know if you knew this. Now, maybe you think I'm being mean or unduly personal. I'm really not, actually. I'm not gonna go off on Kamala being Montel Williams' side piece or whatever. That's low, and I'm not gonna do that. That's actually the best thing about her, if I'm being honest. I mean, it's gross, but it's also kind of earthy and real. It is. And you see the pictures, and there's Montel, it's kind of like lunatic talk shows. Oh, here's my girlfriend. Okay, great. At least it's recognizable as something that people do. It is. Maybe not the best choice. She may not have perfect judgment. Well, she doesn't stand alone in that category. But that's not the Kamala or Kamala Harris you see now. And why am I mispronouncing her name? Because she does. She does. I did once. I don't know. By the way, I've almost never pronounced anyone's name correctly. I have trouble with pronouncing names, which is hard in a business where that's your job, but I was always doing that. I mispronounced her name immediately. Oh, you don't like her, you're racist. Okay. So then when my producer goes, well, wait, we're trying to get to the bottom of how she pronounces her name, and we've got tape of her pronouncing it two different ways. This is not her last name. This is not her married name. This is not a nickname. This is her first name. Imagine not having decided as an adult how to pronounce your first name. I'm not being mean. Has that ever happened to you? David, 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 David. Honestly, like, what is that? Well, it's not human.
Here's something you may not have known. Back in 2015, the Congress of the United States repealed something called the Country of Origin Labeling Act. Now, why is this relevant to you? Well, it means, among other things, that when you buy beef at the supermarket that says made in the USA, it may not actually be. In fact, it could be, likely is, from a foreign country. It means that repackaging foreign meat can be enough to get the Made in USA designation. It's a lie. It's an absolute lie. Most people don't even know what's happening. So how can you be sure that the meat you're eating is from the United States and has been raised with the highest quality standards and is the tastiest? It's truly made here. Well, it's simple. You can go to our friends at Merriweather Farms. Merriweather Farms is an American small business. It's based in Riverton, Wyoming. We know the people who run it, and they're great people. And they have great meat. They ship the highest quality meat raised free from growth hormones and antibiotics directly to your doorstep. It's delicious. We eat it a lot, including at this table. These are Americans. These are American-made products, And because they're cutting out the grocery store middlemen, their prices are actually cheaper, 10 to 30% cheaper for the best meat. They're the real deal. Again, we eat that meat at this table from Riverton, Wyoming. They're the best. Meriwetherfarms.com. Use the discount code Tucker24 and you get an extra 10% off. Again, that's Meriwether Farms, MERIWETHER, farms.com. It's worth it.
And if you watch her speak, my favorite part in the last debate, the only debate, which was not my favorite debate, I'll say that, but my favorite moment was the first 15 seconds where there was a tight shot on Kamala's face and she was terrified. She was terrified. Because, and I'm being sincere, like I've been on stage a lot and there are moments where you're like, oh wow, I don't know what to say, you know? And I could see in her eyes, like she's thinking to herself, I've never done anything in my life. No one even voted for me. What am I doing here? Can I pull this off? And that was the only moment I liked her in the whole debate. Because that's a recognizably human response. Terror, feeling like an imposter. Who hasn't felt that way? I have, right? But the rest of it was exactly like the guy she replaced without any voting, Joe Biden, where it was literally like AI. I grew up in a middle-class family. We had a middle-class friend once. That's a Chat GPT answer. And Biden was exactly the same way. And you contrast that to Trump. It's like, what is he gonna say? Whatever occurs to him. And I think, having watched it a lot and known him for many years before he got into politics, because I was in the media, I do think that Trump's popularity derives mostly from his love of people. And I do think the whole population feels, on an animal level, feels the contempt that our leaders have for us. It's not just that they think you're stupid or they don't want to hear from you or they're gonna just pick a nominee without letting you vote on it. Or it's not just like you're gonna vote on a referendum and then one of their judges is gonna be like, no, you can't have that, sorry. It's not like every public opinion poll taken for the last 30 years bears no resemblance whatsoever to the congressional agenda. That's all true. All those facts suggest they don't care what you think, you're just a barking dog. I actually pay much more attention to my barking dogs than they do to us. But it's deeper than that. They don't like you at all. They don't like you. They hate you, actually. Which is why they're encouraging you not to have children at every turn. What is that? I have strong feelings about the subject of life. I've got a ton of kids. But you don't have to get theological about it. It's just really simple. If you love someone, you want more of them. And if you hate them, you want fewer. Right? I'm a non-genius. That's my superpower. If I like something, I had dinner last night with Alex Jones, like cheesecake, I'll have 2. Right? If I like something, I want more of it. And if they liked us, they'd want more of us. And yet pretty much everything they do is designed to make sure there are not more of us. Yeah, Boo is right. I want more of us, like more Americans, because I like Americans. It's not complicated, it's not theological, it's human. Anyone who is trying to prevent you from reproducing hates you. Super simple. And if they've constructed an entire platform where your only right is not to have children, they hate you. That's the only right you possess. You can't say what you want to say. You can't hang out with who you want to hang out with. You can't criticize them. You can't defend yourself from crime. You have no input into the laws in a system that you supposedly own. You have no way to influence how they spend your money, and you can't not give it to them or they'll shoot you. So, okay. But you do have one right, and that's not to reproduce. What is that? Well, it's loathing. It's loathing of people. And in a world, well, of course it's the definition of evil. It's the definition of evil. People are made in the image of God. That's why they have value. That's why they're unique among the species, because they are made in the image of God. That's why each person has a spark of holiness inside. That's why you're not allowed to kill them. I mean, what? We've gotten so far from the obvious. Just to restate, by the way, I'm an Episcopalian, so I'm not gonna lecture on theology. This is not theology, it's just obvious. Killing people is bad. We don't have a right to kill people except in self-defense, period. Why? Because we didn't make people. Because we're not God, we're not in charge of the universe. There are limits to our power, as there are to our wisdom and our foresight. Duh. And so if you construct an entire movement around killing people, well, you're sick. That's exactly right. Phil, this is like Mad Libs, I love it. I'm gonna pause at the end of every sentence, and you fill it in with a better adjective than I could have thought of. I love that. Yes, you're sick. You're sick, you're diseased, but you're also doomed. And that's the point I want to make. This can't continue. And it won't. There's a famous saying in Washington from Herb Stein, who was President Nixon's chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors, a group that not a lot of people pay attention to, but he had one great line, which is, if something can't continue, it won't. And governments based on hatred of human beings cannot continue. Now the question is, at what point does it cease to continue? And the answer is, I have no idea. I have no idea. But I know in my heart, as certain as I am of anything, that no matter what happens, people will persist. Because God created them and put them here to thrive. That's the whole point. And I mean no matter what happens. If something awful, I don't even want to say it out loud, but we are on the brink of catastrophe around the world because the people in charge of our government want to destroy the human population. And there's no faster way to do that than with a world war, which is where we're headed right now. And I've spent a lot of time worrying about that because I have a tactile sense of how close we are. And this morning I realized, first of all, it's not up to me. Can't control that. I've got a wife, 3 dogs, 4 children, tons of employees, a lot of college roommates. I got a lot of people to care about, and I'm gonna care about them, because that's the most important thing. But I also thought, I don't care if that does happen. People somewhere will survive. They will reproduce. They will persist. They will smile and laugh and tell appalling, filthy jokes and do all the things that people do. And over another 10 million years, create McDonald's, and a future Donald Trump will order 3/4 pounders and eat them in the car. Because that's who people are. And you can't extinguish it. I don't care if you're Carmela Harris or whatever she's calling herself. I don't care if you're Klaus Schwab. I don't care how powerful you think you are. You can build your stupid little Tower of Babel, but in the end, it's gonna fall down because you're a joke. You are not God. You vastly overestimate your powers because you're absurd, and future generations, and yes, there will be future generations, will laugh at you. And whether I'm here or not to see that, it brings me joy to think about it. So I'm happy. And with that, I want to bring on the first of a couple guests tonight. I want to bring on a man called James O'Keefe, whom I've known, here I'm like bragging, I knew James O'Keefe before he started shaving. He may have shaved, but I've known him a long time. And James O'Keefe is a very talented man. And so when we left our old world of subscribe to TV shows and sit there and watch them into the new world, which we now occupy and are really enjoying, and created our own network, TCN, we thought, we should do long form programming. And one of the first people we decided to partner with was James O'Keefe. And he has created a film that's gonna air on TCN on October 10th called Line in the Sand, that I think is pretty amazing film. And what sets it apart from most of the documentaries you see on every topic, including immigration, is that James O'Keefe, being James O'Keefe, actually went down and got on top of the migrant train and rode with the Venezuelans. Here's the trailer to the movie, and then we'll talk to him about it.
We got an unaccompanied minor right here, guys. This is heartbreaking right here.
Those criminals are being put with the kids? They're putting the criminals with the kids.
Does sacrificing your value system and integrity to feed your family make you a bad person?
Stop the car. Stop the car.
They're very upset.
They're right there. Get down.
It's not about people. Follow the journey of the immigrants.
It's just all about money.
The journey of the children. And the journey into human nature.
I should say one thing I love about not just James, but all people, and all my friends almost all have this in common. You know, life throws you stuff and kind of knocks you off, and the people who get up and keep going are the ones that I respect. And Mike Tyson has a great quote about this. Everybody got a plan until you get hit in the face. And James and I have been both hit in the face recently, and he is still making great art, I think. So thank you.
Thank you, Tucker. I've been hit in the face a lot. Yes.
So tell us, just give us the outline of what you did to get this story, because it's amazing.
This is the most insane movie you'll ever see, documentary. We actually embedded with illegal immigrants and followed their journey from South Mexico to their final destination. We were with the cartel. The film opens with the cartel cutting through the fence and them cursing me off. We put audio recording devices to record everything. Moments that you wouldn't even believe that are real, we captured on video. I wanted to show people what's the true reality, which is a lot more complicated than people think. And we went to New York City, we got the fake residencies, the fraud, all on hidden camera. And we're releasing it with you, Tucker. Thank you very much.
So, well, we're honored to do it. But the reason I haven't done it is because I don't want to get killed. So, like, can you just do that? This is a business. It's a business, human trafficking, run with the help of the Biden administration, but by the cartels.
Yeah, we almost died. One of my colleagues got kidnapped by the cartel, Anthony. They destroyed all of his cameras. I was detained by the Mexican National Guard and Mexican immigration, and I was wearing a hidden camera in my watch, and I recorded all of it. So...
Wait, can I ask, I mean, once they found out they were holding James O'Keefe, that's kind of like an obvious peril, right? Did they know who they had?
I don't think they realized what was happening, but they eventually realized that I was an American, and they were afraid of what I had captured on video. So this is a remarkable, I mean, there's one moment when the cartel is cutting through the fence, and they tell me in Spanish, they said, "You need to let us finish our work." As a Border Patrol agent, just stood by and watched. And the film is called Line in the Sand because in our country right now, people are facing a crisis of conscience. People are having to do things they don't want to do in order to feed their families. And I heard that a lot in this film. I'm just doing my job. I'm just doing my job. Police officers, federal agents. But they're conflicted inside. They're torn inside until the film, we get to the part where there are whistleblowers. In this film, people in the federal government blowing the whistle, and nobody knows that yet until it premieres on your site.
Well, let's see a clip.
Yeah, we have a clip here of me to set this up. I got on the Beast train in Irapuato, Mexico. I climbed aboard a freight train with Venezuelans and rode it. So a little scene from the film here, if we can put that up on the screen.
You gotta tie up our shoes because when you get on a moving train, you don't want to get the laces tangled up in there.
The Faramex train conductor signaled to the immigrants not to take this train, but the next one.
This is a good one. This is a good one? This is the best one to travel.
Oh, is that it down there? We gotta run, let's go. ¿Qué pasó?
That's us.
I think that's the train right in front of us.
Next one down. Next one down. Go. You gotta keep going, you gotta keep going.
Oh shit, I can't fucking do this, guys.
Hurry! Come on, you got this, brother. Come on. Yeah, Logan, you got this, brother.
It's all right, man. We're here. What is this? It's coal. Coal pellets.
We barely did that. It was moving. We barely did that. Did this just happen?
Holy shit.
That just happened?
I guess it did.
America, we made it. ¿Qué pasa?
América. ¡La logramos!
Llegamos.
¡Progreso policial para the king of the world!
There's actually people waving at you the entire way, and they're cheering you on, and they're excited to see you. You got shanty towns right here. They wave at you. Everyone is so nice.
Line in the sand.
So amazing. I just want your top line conclusion about what we're watching here. So we've had tens of millions of people come into our country, and if you watch the media and change the country forever, totally destroyed huge parts of the country. That's true. I've just seen it. And those who live here know what I'm talking about. But the way that it's explained to us is that you have sort of people from around the world showing up looking for better opportunities, which I'm sure is true on some level. But it sounds like you found a business run by like devil-worshipping drug gangs.
Yeah, in short, it's like that old adage, follow the money. What I discovered is that everyone is making money off this. And I think we kind of already know that, but it was shocking. I mean, so shocking. Everybody is being paid off. The federal government is giving billions of $1 trillion from Health and Human Services to fund places here in Texas that I snuck into, secret child encampments here in the state of Texas to house 500,000 unaccompanied children. And everybody is talking about how they're making all this money. That's what it came down to. That's what I saw. Even the cartel said, we got to get paid. You got to let us finish cutting this steel beam. We put audio recording devices on the beams to listen as they traffic people across. So this is an opportunity for you to actually see it. A lot of documentaries talk about it. People think about they know, but you actually are immersed in it. And it is so shocking. I was actually, there's a scene where I'm visibly black-pilled because the Border Patrol agent, they watch it and they just shrug their shoulders and they say, we can't do anything about it.
You know, and you feel for them. I mean, I know a lot of them and I think they're decent people. That there isn't anything they can do because the politicians are refusing to do anything about this. And the reason that I'm so excited about this film is because the people who are supposed to be representing us, especially in this state, like, what does Dan Crenshaw say to this? Like, honestly, why isn't anyone stopping this? No, because they can't deny it when they see this.
I have a positive thing to say, and there's a man in this film, I'll give you his first name. His name is Zach, and he's watching it right now. He's a Border Patrol agent in this film who decided to blow the whistle on the Department of Homeland Security. And he's giving an interview in his vehicle, in his uniform. He's a hero. And you contrast all the feckless, morally weak people in this country who are not willing to take a stand with the ones who are. And I found out, Tucker, that just 2 days ago, the Border Patrol sent a cease and desist letter to him for appearing in this film. And as a result of that, I got wind over the last 24 hours that 5 more Border Patrol agents are gonna blow the whistle as a result of this film. And, one more thing. And so naturally, the investigative reporter. I go, this guy's actually on the Canadian border. I didn't even realize the Canadian border was overrun. It is.
Oh, yeah.
You're in Maine. I was in Vermont. So I go up there this weekend to get comment like I do, and the state police detain me for trying to ask questions of the Border Patrol agents. So this is a giant system, and I mark my words, I promise you, there are going to be dozens of federal whistleblowers coming forward in the next few weeks. And the question for you is, are you gonna have their backs?
So all of us have a long mental list of all the things that you should be doing, but you keep putting off: folding your laundry, going to the gym, stop eating Oreos, doing the dishes, etc., etc., etc. Shopping for life insurance probably shouldn't be on that list, but it is for a lot of people because it's hard and it takes a lot of time. But all of a sudden it's not hard and it doesn't take much time at all. And we give the thanks to Policy Genius. It's made it fast and simple. So we're living in a world that's getting much more complicated by the day, and planning ahead to take care of your loved ones if something were to happen to you makes a lot of sense. Suddenly it's obvious to people, I should probably have life insurance. Why not? Well, why not? Because it's hard and expensive. But what if it weren't? Then you do it because you want to make sure the people who depend on you are provided for. You want them to inherit your debts, for example. That won't do much for your memory. So with Policy Genius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 per year for $1 million of coverage. Some options even offer same-day approval, and you don't have to go through endless medical exams to get them. Policy Genius lets you compare quotes from America's top insurers in just a few clicks to find the lowest price. Then their licensed experts, and they are experts, help you answer questions, handle the paperwork, and make informed decisions about what you want to buy. So don't put it off. You don't have to. You go to policygenius.com/Tucker to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save. That, once again, is policygenius.com/Tucker.
You are doing what our media establishment should be doing, is required to do, and is refusing to do, and bless you for it. And when you find that, I will be honored to air all of that. James O'Keefe.
Thank you, Tucker.
Thank you. You do kind of want to ask David Muir at ABC News, who, judging by his abs, is a really good reporter, an intrepid reporter. Not Anderson Cooper level brave, but, you know. You want to ask, like, why aren't you riding on the top of a cartel train, changing our country forever? Like, where's everybody else? Why is it James O'Keefe doing this? Because he's brave and he's honest, that's why. So I want to introduce our next guest and say it's one of the great upsides to working in the media. The downside of working in the media is you have to work with other people in the media. It's like a daily prostate exam, but it is. I mean that. But the upside is you get to meet amazing people. And most famous people, I'm just, spoiler alert, are actually not worth knowing at all. But occasionally you run into someone who's famous and, in spite of being famous, is genuinely interesting and really smart and free thinking. And if you'd asked me 5 years ago, would Roseanne Barr, who's one of the most famous people in the world, be one of those people? I mean, I didn't know. But I interviewed Roseanne Barr on the strong recommendation of a friend of mine whom I trust several years ago. And I wound up thinking that Roseanne Barr is one of the more extraordinary people I've ever met. And I have been furiously texting with her ever since, because she's so smart and she's so deep. And I mean that, and you're about to see that. So it is with great gratitude that I introduce, ladies and gentlemen, Roseanne Barr.
Thank you guys so much. So nice to see you. Thank you, Tucker, for having me.
Oh, I feel blessed to have you.
Oh, you're so sweet. That movie looks fantastic, doesn't it? James O'Keefe's movie.
Well, it is fantastic. I mean, the guy's honest and brave. It's not being a reporter is not super complicated. It's not building a supercomputer, even taking apart your microwave. It's just like, be honest. And he is.
Yeah,
but he's like one of the only ones.
Yeah, but that takes a certain soul.
Yes, it does. It does take a certain soul.
I love you too.
So let me ask you, I'm always interested, well, you just said it yourself, like why in a world full of reporters is James O'Keefe the only one telling us what's actually happening to the country our ancestors built? And so let me ask you a variety of that question. Of all the famous people in the entertainment business, why have you decided to say exactly what you think?
Well, I always decided to say exactly what I think. Whether it ruins my life or not. Yeah, because that's why I got into it, That's part of being a comedian. To make anything funny, it has to have some truth in it, and so the truth is the funniest thing in the world, really. Truth is so funny and so beautiful and so strong and so incredible and so godlike, because God is truth, So you always got to find that kernel of it if you want to make people laugh or say anything that touches them or be real at all. You gotta be real, and you gotta, come from that deep place. So I always wanted to do that. And plus I didn't have any choice. I always was like that. I was always born like that,
It's really admirable. I don't know if I'd want it in my house in a child.
That's what my mother says. My mom says that. She's like, God, since the minute you were born, you were you. My mom says when I was born, all the other little babies were in their little baby beds there in the hospital, but there was one that was screaming real loud, and she just knew it was hers. And so she went down there, and all the other ones were all nice and being cute babies, but one of them was trying to shove both its fists into its mouth and screaming, and they had to put a little straitjacket on me to keep me from eating both my fists. And she said, it was always like that with you. And I always was. I was always me.
We're the beneficiaries of that. So the truth is the most important thing. Telling the truth is a true joy, actually.
It is a joy.
Yes, it is. I agree with that. Boy. What is the truth of what we're watching now? What the hell is this?
Well, I'm glad you asked me that question.
I am too. I mean, we're in Fort Worth. We can say what we think.
Yeah. Well, I moved down here to Texas. I've been here, living here for 3 years. I love it. People are so damn nice. It's like really cool to be around nice people. And, it's really cool. And guns and stuff, that's cool. Hell yeah. Right? Woohoo! I shot a deer, I shot my first deer. I guess it was 1 year ago, I shot an 8-point buck with one shot.
Really?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. That made the best, what do you call them? We turned them into beef sticks. Deer sticks. Oh gosh, those were so damn good. I got to go get me another one. I ate them all. I had a whole freezer full of them. I ate them all. Oh, they were so good. I never had deer meat before.
But you ate the whole deer.
Yeah, I ate the whole deer. It was good. Well, my family ate it too, not just me.
I'm just picturing that.
It was so cool. I never did anything like that. I went on a great big old farm and it had all these deer and we tracked it and all that stuff and set up the thing and the whole thing. It was so awesome. Got the big old rifle out, and put it on the holder and then stood there like looking in the bushes for it and everything. It was so cool. Man, I felt like I was really, like I could take care of myself. You know what I mean? Like I was thinking like, well, who knows what they're going to shut down or take away from us next, but I can always go out and shoot myself a deer if I have to. It was awesome.
Amen.
Plus, I thought, well, you might as well do it once. I always want to do something once in my life, so I could say I had the experience, like running for president and stuff. I did that. That was an experience. And, I've done a lot of really different kind of things.
When you ran for president, did you refuse to give interviews?
No, I love giving interviews. You know why? Because I knew what I was going to say and I had ideas. Unlike, she's nothing but a prostitute. She blew her way to the middle. That's what I said. She did. She blew her way to the middle. And that is insulting to us women who, like I said, it is so insulting to those women, like me, who are never asked to blow a guy for a promotion. Right, ladies?
I can see why you're insulted. I get it.
And we're supposed to be proud of that. I mean, we're supposed to go, oh, she's the first one. I mean, it's just such an insult. Everything that they do is to insult and humiliate us. Yes. The women, first of all, they can't insult or humiliate us enough by telling us that if you got a penis, you're a better woman. That really pisses me off,
I mean, it is.
It makes me so mad. It just
it's
makes
mockery of you,
actually. It is
actually.
mockery and humiliation. It's blackface. It's woman face.
So when the little Bud Light dude is telling you how hard it is to be a woman, which he's been for like a week, I mean.
You know what was disgusting about that? We're going to get into it, and you were getting into it, but I've been involved in this fight for a really long time. And he wasn't just being a woman or a girl or any of that stuff. He was dressing up like an 8-year-old. Right? You saw it, right? I was irate. And then he would run in his bedroom with his teddy bears and stuff in that little girl's dress. I mean, it was just pedophilia. It was normalizing pedophilia. And that is all they care about, that and killing babies. That's only two things they care about, normalizing pedophilia and killing babies.
It's hard to argue with that. I mean, if those clearly are their priorities, I mean, but the thing that both have in common is the destruction of innocence.
Absolutely. That's where the devil gets his power.
Tell me what you mean.
Well, the destruction of everything decent, good, and innocent. He loves nothing more than when we, people give him the power by destroying it. Then he owns them. He owns the people who do that in his name. And, they worship Satan. And I mean, people are always going, oh, Roseanne, you're so crazy. But they do. They worship Satan just like we worship God, only I think they're more, whatever the word is, devout than we are. They're way more devout than we are. they never go a day without worshiping at the altar of the devil and doing his bidding. We'll forget about God when we go and we only turn to God when, we're having troubles or something, or when we feel bad, but those guys are at it 24/7. And that's when you ask me what's going on in the world. That is exactly what I think is going on in the world. It's a big old war. It's a war between good and evil. And, you got two choices who you're going to serve. You're going to, like that Bob Dylan song, you're going to serve somebody. It may be the devil or it may be the Lord, but you're going to have to serve somebody. So I always say, choose wisely. This is the time to choose wisely. And a lot of people, they're on the fence because they're like, well, this doesn't involve me, or I don't want to get involved. But the thing is that they are choosing to be with the devil by doing that. And they're going to pay for it too.
What do you mean? So you're saying that the people through whom evil flows are destroyed by evil?
Yeah, the people who do evil are destroyed by evil, but the people who don't hate evil, because we're commanded in the Torah to hate evil. We're not supposed to tolerate or love it or look the other way or forgive it. We're supposed to chase after it with hate to extinguish it from this planet. And that's the only thing we're allowed to feel hate for, not for another human being who happens to be captive of the force of the devil. But the devil himself, we are supposed to hate him and the evil he does by serving our God. And by loving our God and loving what's good, because God is good. So when you're not choosing, you are choosing. You know what I mean? You're choosing not to be on the right side. You're choosing to go, oh, well, it doesn't involve me. Well, it does involve you. And you're on the wrong side of stuff that you didn't pick. It picked for you. Like a lot of people will say, well, I'm not political. I don't care about politics. Well, that's fine, but politics cares about you. And you are not immune. And I think these times are showing people that. It doesn't matter if you think you're immune or you can, immerse yourself in insignificant things. It's still going to get you. It's coming right now. It's gathering forces coming for our country. And, it's past time for us to sit around going like, well, geez, I hope somebody will do something about it. It's way past that.
When did this come to you?
Oh, boy. It came to me when I was 3 years old. I was 3 years old. And I grew up in an apartment house. I'm a Jew. I don't know if y'all know I'm a Jew. I love being a Jew. It is so much fun. It is so much fun to be Jewish. I'm telling you, it's a blast. It is. It's so fun. And and I'm Jewish, and my grandparents, they sponsored a lot of people to come over after the Holocaust. They sponsored, I think it was 20 families to come over from concentration camps, and my grandparents owned an apartment house, and that's where I grew up. And I grew up with survivors. And every Friday night for Shabbat dinner, everyone would come to my grandmother's house, and they had numbers on their arms. And that's where I started my career, actually, because I always said my grandmother had a big, window seat. And so I would go up there and entertain, because I really don't like people all that much unless I'm on stage and they're watching me. Then I really love them, But I'm not good on one-to-one things because I get tongue-tied and nervous. But I really liked entertaining, and they'd all clap and stuff. And I did my really good Shirley Temple impressions. And I made my mom do my hair in ringlets and everything. And my family lied to me, and they told me that I was better than Shirley Temple and everything like that. And I believed them till I was older. And that was a horrible letdown there. But sometimes they would tell stories about what they had been through. They didn't have, they were in PTSD, and I was the only kid around, and so they often would point to me. This is a lot of why I'm really neurotic and stuff. And they would point to me and they would say, little girls like her. And then they would tell a horrible thing that happened. Huh? What? I don't know what you're saying. Oh, well, I love you too. You're so nice. Thank you. Well, so they's always pointing to me and going, little girls like her, they did this and that. And they were watching the Eichmann trial on TV, and I'd come in and they'd go, don't let her watch it. But then my aunts, they'd go, no, she should see this. I would never show my kids when they were 3 what I saw. But, it's horrifying, and I got horrible PTSD from it, too, and a lot of other mental things like obsessive-compulsive and a whole bunch of tics. But so I wanted to get away from them. I went in the bathroom and locked the bathroom door. I was only 3, and they all were coming, hey, Rosie, turn the black knob, and, oh, she's locked. They were Jewish, so they were like, oh, my God, she's locked herself in the bathroom. She locked herself in the bathroom. How's she going to get up? We're going to have to call the fire department. They're going to break into her house. But I was in there, and I was like, I locked them out. And it was great. And so I was just all in the bathroom alone, and it was really fun and stuff, all by myself there without them there. And I had a vision. And I had this vision, and I saw a vision. And, I told people this my whole life, and they're going, oh, my God, she needs shock treatments and psychiatric care. She needs to get her, you wouldn't believe, till I stopped talking about it, till I was older. But, I did see a vision, and it was, I don't know what it was, but it was a guy, a man, and he pointed at me just like they had pointed at me. And he told me without words, you're gonna live. He said, you're going to survive this. And he said, and one day you're gonna have an answer to every question that's in your mind right now. And I'm gonna be with you every step of the way. And you're gonna find those answers in books. Because I loved books when I was little. And, I've read thousands of books. And I always find the answers in my mind. I'll tell you about that later. And then he told me, he said, and you're going to have your own television show, and it's going to be called Roseanne.
The most interesting and newsworthy television show of the year is coming here to TCN. We are not bragging. That's actually true.
The president's been shot.
So our longtime producer, Justin Wells, and a team have been embedded, with no publicity at all, with Donald Trump on the campaign trail for months. They're the only crew capturing what is going on the campaign in real time, intimately. They're with Trump as he campaigns for the presidency across the country, and they've shot some amazing footage. It shows you what it's really like in there. So if you're a member, you will soon be able to get this docu-series covering the historic campaign, the fall of Joe Biden, never-before-seen footage from the assassination attempt at the Butler Township, Pennsylvania Trump rally, and a lot more. It's going to pull back the curtain completely. They are embedded inside the campaign. I can't wait to see it personally. But to get it first, go to tuckercarlson.com, become a member. The greatest television event of the year. We're proud to offer it.
So that's why I know there is a God, because it came true, you know. So I knew it was a God force that was saying that to me. So I was like, yeah. And then it happened, so I don't have any doubts about if there's a God or not because of that, you know.
Do you have doubts about whether good or evil wins in the end?
Oh, no, I have no doubts at all whether good or evil win. I know good always wins. It takes its time, though, because, you know, a lot of people have to wake up because they don't even know what's the difference between good and evil. And we got a lot of people in our country, they still are blind to it. They don't see that they're supporting evil. They have no idea. And, you know, but now it's so in their face. I think that God is pulling the veil off of all of it in front of us. And every day, don't you just see it? Every day it's getting harder and harder not to see it. And I think that these people, they have to work really hard not to see it and not to put the pieces together. And that's why we don't have any journalists, because journalists are supposed to put the severed parts together for us to get the picture. So that's why they knew they couldn't have any of them. You know, we have to be, like I say, unified field of bullshit. That's what we have for a media. Because if they were to tell the truth, people would get the picture clearly and wouldn't allow it. But they have plausible deniability. That's why they lie, because people will go, well, maybe it isn't that they're stealing our country and selling it out from under us. These people that pretend to represent us, maybe they're not making deals just for themselves and their families with the money we work up here to pay taxes and pay for all that stuff to allow them to kill us. You know. Maybe people would see real clearly what's being done to the people of our country, and particularly what's being done to the children in our country and to the children they're bringing to this country, and to the genocide that is happening to those children that they're bringing to this country, and to the genocide that's going on to the children in this country.
Well, how would you describe that genocide?
Oh, it's just so complete on every single level. It's fierce. Well, you know, what is it like? They say 80,000 children just disappeared that were brought over here. But that isn't even taking into account what I know. When I came to Hollywood, well, always I was involved in stuff having to do with mental health. And being a mental health patient myself, I always saw behind that veil, that iron curtain of what they do to people who have mental health issues, what they do in hospitals, you know. Yeah. There's so many of us. And, you know, being committed to mental hospitals several times in my life, having about, 150 nervous breakdowns and such over the course of my life. Just shout shit out, whatever. But No, but I would be in mental institutions with other young people, so I would hear from them what was going on in their lives. And so I always knew because they told me. And when I came to Hollywood, people regarded me as a mother figure, you know, and they still do, and I love it. And I, you know, love it, love children. I love children of all ages. But people would come to me, kids in Hollywood, and, you know, they would tell me things, a lot of them that never told their own parents. And I would listen because I felt like that was part of why God allowed me to have what I got, you know, because I owed that, you know, I felt like I owed that. In telling the story of this family that was archetypical to me of all the great families I grew up with that were working class and poor, you know, right on that line, and just were so noble. You know, that's what I wanted to bring to television because I was so sick of seeing working people insulted all the time, particularly, you know, I was just sick of it. So I would sit there watching TV and go, when I get the Roseanne show, you know, we're gonna show, you know, how indispensable these people are, the people who make everything go. And I always regarded it as a spiritual, you know, mission to do that. And plus it made me feel good, you know, to do it. Because I knew that it wasn't, I knew the people in charge didn't value it, nor did they value the people at home that were making them all their money and watching it and buying all their products and all that stuff. So I sort of felt like a pirate.
A pirate?
Yeah, I always imagined myself a pirate, and this one friend of mine was a great professor of linguistics and theology, and she wrote that people like us writers, that we are pirates on the subliminal seas. Don't you love that?
I kind of do.
Pirates on the subliminal seas and stealing back what was stolen from us.
So it worked. I mean, it was the biggest show in America, and then it became really clear to everyone in Hollywood that the people you portrayed and the people who watch the show were like 100% Trump voters.
Oh, yeah.
And so...
Well, they always hated the working class. They always hated the working class.
Why? I've never understood that.
Because they work.
I don't know. I didn't grow up in the working class. I always kind of thought they were great. They could do stuff. They had actual skills. It wasn't just like all private equity. I mean, they like made stuff.
Yeah. Well, these peculiar people in Hollywood, they're not like you, or they're not like anybody.
What are they like?
Well, they're just very arrogant and very ignorant. They have no real life. They're narcissists, first of all. They don't have any real relationships with anybody. You know, they don't have any real friendships. They don't have any integrity or authenticity or nothing. They're just phantoms. I think they're phantoms. I always say when I talk to people, I think we need a new definition for what is a human being.
What do you mean? And what is the definition of a human being?
Well, to me, what's
I think you're being asked to comment on Diddy.
Oh, on Diddy. Okay, but first I want to finish what because I said this, I talked some a little while ago, a week or so ago, but people were agreeing with me because I think, well, a human being cares about life.
Yes.
A human being loves life and living things. and has empathy for living things and other human beings. And I think that's the big thing. A human being respects life, wants things to live, loves life, and feels empathy for other living things.
Amen. I agree with that definition 100%.
And there are some people, well, they look like people, but, and they act like people, sort of, but they don't have none of that. They like the idea of blood and war and death. They really dig that because it means, they're going to make another $100 or something.
So are you suggesting they're not fully human?
I don't think they're human. I'm a biblical student, no, I don't think they're human. In the Bible it says, is anyone interested in hearing me? I always tell this to my family. They're used to me, but I'm like, I always lose all my friends and stuff because, nobody likes to hear somebody that just talks about the Bible 24/7. They're like, oh my God, give it a rest. Get something else to talk about. People are bored with me when I do. But I love it. And so I just like to find other people that'll do that with me. But, I'm glad there's some of y'all there. Thanks for that. Well, it says that you're sweet, thank you. It says some of us are people, and then some of us are messengers. And messengers or angels, they come in two forms, negative and positive. But a messenger or an angel, it doesn't have a soul. And here's what it says about a soul. So if you are a soul or a messenger, a lot of people don't know. Huh? If you are a soul is capable of change. A soul can change its mind. It can change its behavior. It can repent. It can grow. It can get better. It can do better. It can change. A messenger cannot change. It's only here to tempt those who have souls. It tempts them to do bad or to do good.
So you think
because it says the devil, Satan, in Hebrew, what he is the prosecutor. Because when you go to heaven for judgment in the court, he shows up as the prosecutor on the other side because he knows your sins better than you do.
So you're saying that if we're trying to assess people, the ability to repent and change is the number one way we understand what we're dealing with.
Right. And so a lot of these messengers are like phantoms, and we can create them in our mind with when we are not honest with ourselves and we're not right with God, and we just like project our own crap onto everybody else. We can create a phantom that way by projection. So, now if we get a good angel or good messenger that brings us a good message that lifts us, that's a gift from God, that to do better, to go the right way. But a lot of us, what do you say?
Donald Trump.
I'm going to tell you all about Trump in a minute. And, but a negative messenger, they just want you to mess up because then they've got you. And when you think you're got, when you think your sins are so great, you go, oh, to hell, I'll never get better. And then you just keep doing bad. So that's the trick,
We've all seen that.
Yeah.
You've known Trump a long time. How would you assess Trump?
I think that he's biblical. I think he's messianic. He's a messianic figure to me. And it also says that Torah also says that every tribe of human, every tribe of being is here to fix itself through repentance and, by being real honest with yourself and, going to God and saying, I did this, like to have the capacity for self-reflection. And Trump, I think, is here to do the lifting for our country. Everything that our country did that was bad, he's here to lift us out of that and take us into the good.
Well, he's certainly revealed a lot of it. I will say that. I always think of Trump that looking back 100 years from now, I think it'll be clear that because of Trump, a lot of us, I'm in the category for sure, I lived in DC. I had no idea what was going on in the city I lived with among the people who were my neighbors. I had no clue until Trump showed up.
Really?
I really didn't. I mean, I really didn't. I don't know. It's like if you're married to an alcoholic, it's like all your friends know, but you're the last to know.
Yeah, that's true.
And if you're living I thought NATO was like a good thing.
Oh my God.
I know. You don't know when you're in the middle of it.
You know how many people still think that? Like they like Zelensky and shit? I can't even think, I could lose my mind over that. Like they go, oh, he's Jewish. Well, he's a effing Nazi, Zelensky. I don't care what, I just lose my mind for this stuff.
Do you meet anyone who agrees with you? Just checking.
More and more. For a long time, well, not in Hollywood. Hell no, not in Hollywood. No, I never met nobody that agreed with me in Hollywood.
What did they think of you?
Well, they, when I would say, they just hated my guts. And they were terrified of me too.
Why?
I thought they were terrified of me because I was a woman, for one thing. They're terrified of women. Yeah, especially the kind of women they got out there are terrified of women like me. They're terrified.
What kind of women do they have out there?
Whores.
I noticed that you're a word mincer. Where'd you learn that?
But they are though. They are. They don't have any. They don't have no self. None of them has any self. It's just a bore. They're all bores. And, like I was a woman, I'm a comic. I think they were shocked. I think the first time I ever went to a meeting at the network there, that was something. they were like, it didn't compute. It's like somebody like her, I mean, she should be serving us coffee. That's how they looked at it. She should be serving us coffee or cleaning up something. And here she is telling us what? She didn't go to Harvard, none of that shit.
Oh, you didn't go to Harvard?
No, nor Princeton, none of that shit.
Okay.
No, and they're like, geez, she's a high school dropout. And she's sitting up here telling these network people what to do. And so I think they didn't like me for that, you know. Plus I said things like when they'd say crazy stuff, like they'd go like, they'd say like this, well, Roseanne would never say that. They'd say that to me. Roseanne would never say that. They'd say that to me. Roseanne would never say that. And I go, what are you talking about? And they go, not you, Roseanne. They're psycho. I go, but I am Roseanne. What the hell are you talking about? I am Roseanne. I know what Roseanne would say. Trust me, she would say that. And they say, no, you don't understand. There's a difference between you and the character you portray. No, there isn't. There's no difference between myself and the character that I portray. I write the fucking jokes, you assholes. I'm sorry, excuse me. I'm so dirty and awful. I'm sorry. But they made me so mad. And then they'd go like this. They'd go, well, we feel that that is not the right way to go. And so, you know, I just got madder and madder because, you know, I came from nothing. You know, we ate the welfare cheese in my family, which was very unusual for Jews to be on the welfare cheese. It was. But so I say, you know what? You're making a big mistake. I go like, you're thinking the wrong way. This ain't a democracy, okay? It's a queendom. It ain't no democracy up in here, okay? It's a queendom. Read the name of the show. And so then it was like, God, she's such a bitch. Then it was like, she's a bitch. And then I'd see them like with Jerry Seinfeld and the men, they'd go, oh, he knows what he wants. You know, he's a great leader. He really stands there and he stands there. He knows what he wants. He has the vision. She's a big fat bitch. They always did that to me, and it drove me crazy because I knew what they were doing.
Even though I think they're very for women's rights, I thought. They're pretty big feminists, aren't they? I think they like fund Planned Parenthood. It's kind of weird they didn't listen to you.
Well, I wasn't that kind. I was,
oh, I know.
wasn't that way. I was like, well, the mom, you know, the mom and the dad. I like there to be a mom and a dad. You know. I like there to be a male and a female in the power equation. You know, I like men, and, you know, Hollywood, everybody's gay as hell. Ask me who's gay, I'll tell you. Just ask me, I'll tell you.
Did he?
Oh, they're all gay as hell. I always knew they were gay as hell too, because when they're getting out, they're going, I'm a man and there's nothing but bitches native, this and that, gay. Right? Gay.
Well, let's just get on the list on who's gay then.
Woo! Woo! And you know, I said, my brother and sister is both gay, you know, and that's why I put gay characters on TV because, you know, we all love the gays. And I said, because I grew up with the gays and everything. And, I love my brother and sister. And, they've been with the same people for 35 and 38 years. And, I've been married 9 or 10 times, so you can't go by the stereotype there. So I wanted to present, normal people. They're married and they have children, and I said, well, but the bad thing about giving the voiceless a voice, they never shut the fuck up. That's the problem there. But no, they should have quit back when they got, they didn't need to go this far, Come on, it's all about the middle, right? The vast middle there. The extremes have marginalized the middle. It's insane.
I've noticed.
It's insane. Ain't it? How did they marginalize Main Street?
Well, they've decided and they've succeeded in making people with normal goals like getting married, have kids, buy a house, send the kids to summer camp. Like, these are not crazy buy a helicopter, take over the world goals.
No.
But all of a sudden you're like a freak if you want to have children. It's like, shut up and freeze your eggs and go back to work at the bank. It's like, no, but
Yeah.
for real.
I know.
Most people I know have, including me, pretty moderate goals.
I know.
Yeah, but those are considered heteronormative or racist or something. But no, every person, regardless of what they look like or where they're from, kind of has the same goals.
Yeah.
But they've been redefined as freaky by the freakiest people in the world. That's my read on it.
I know. They're these people going around showing their wieners and all over the streets, walking around in their parades.
Where are you on wiener flashing?
No, but I'm saying the people showing their wieners to the kids, they're saying that we're offensive. They're the ones saying we're offensive.
It does seem, what were you saying earlier about projecting?
Yeah. Because they have no self.
What does that mean? So they have no self. Can you just flesh it out a little bit?
Well, I think when they look in the mirror, they don't see a reflection because they have no self-reflection. All they do is go after everybody else, but they don't go, hey, man, I have total double standards. I'm watching everybody on, everybody who loves Trump going to prison, and everybody on my side who's done 10 times worse, they don't even get arrested or get a ticket. They haven't arrested anybody that burned down all those cities, but an old lady that walks through the Capitol, a grandmother, they throw her in prison. They don't even see it. That's what I'm telling you.
They're not even investigating the Epstein murder. They promised an investigation. They've never done it.
No.
Right.
But I think all of them, the Uniparty, they are just trying to, they're scared to death and they're just trying to protect themselves because when that list comes out and all the other stuff is declassed, it's going to be like worse than the emperor naked. It's going to be the emperor went to Epstein Island and ate people. And they do that. They eat babies. That is not bullshit. It's true.
So it's not just the dogs and the cats, not just the pets.
It's not just the dogs and the cats. They're full-on vampires. And everybody still thinks I'm crazy, but I'm not crazy. They're full-on vampires. They love the taste of human flesh and they drink human blood. They do, Tucker. Stop staring at me like that.
You're freaking me out, man. Because you spent your life in the entertainment business, so I think you have some authority on this.
So many kids that I was in mental institutions with over the years, they are all from those cults. And they've covered it all up. And, I just pray to God. I'm just going to pray to God that he opens everybody's eyes in this country. By the time we go in to vote for Trump, that he will open up everybody's eyes and they will stop pretending to be asleep. You know what they say? You can't wake people up that are pretending to be asleep, but I pray to God, please wake up even those who are pretending to be asleep with the irrefutable truth of what the worst people on this planet are really up to. They are really up to that. They're doing it. There are so many victims. There are so many victims. There are so many children victims that are now adults. There are so many adult victims who have been raped and brutalized and seen their brothers and sisters murdered in these houses where their parents are, drug addicts, and because that happened to them too. It is at, what did they call it when COVID, what was that? The
Big lie.
No, that big lie, yeah. But they said pandemic. What's the word? Epidemic, thank you, honey. The epidemic in America, the epidemic in America is child sexual abuse, and I just want people to see it. I want people to open up their eyes and see how prevalent and horrible it is. 1 of 3 girls, 1 of 4 boys in this country today. It's just horrible, and you just can't lie it away anymore. It's going to get more and more apparent, and you got to choose your side. You know what I said? When they didn't pass that SAFE law, boy, am I getting mad. Do you know Tucker? I better shut up.
No.
Do you know how many people I had? Do you know what I do? Do you know what I've done since they stole that election in 2020? They gave us a goddamn COVID so we'd send in those mail order ballots and all that bullshit, and the post office cheated too. Everybody in this country cheated us out of our president in 2020. They made us sick. I'm sorry.
Go, baby.
They overthrew the United States of America. They overthrew the constitutional republic of the United States of America. And then they covered it up with their January 6th bullshit. With their insurrection. Because the first thing President Trump did, God bless that man, and I love him, and everybody knows it. I love him more now than I ever loved him, and I loved him pretty damn good. He drove me out in a Bentley when I did my second HBO special at Trump Palace in Atlantic City, if you've seen it. He's always been a good friend and a good man, and to me, and to a lot of other people. And what was I saying? I'm old. I forget what I'm saying. What was I saying?
Well, I wasn't kidding about Roseanne being interesting, was I? I mean...
No, I'm sorry.
No, it's true.
I forgot what I was saying.
You said they overthrew Trump.
Yeah.
They used the COVID.
Yeah, they made
and then
up
January
COVID.
6th.
They got Fauci gave everybody AIDS too. Did you know that? He did. Google it. He withheld the AIDS treatment from dying people and came back to give us COVID. And he's working on a whole new one. Nobody stops any of these people. How come the same people are still around? The ones with the fake Pfizer's and Obama, this is his 4th goddamn term. come nobody does anything about Obama and he's still running around? After Fast and Furious, after fake FISAs, they overthrew the government of our country and they haven't even answered for it. And that pisses me off. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. You guys, since they did that, Tucker, I'm sorry. But since they did that...
No, sorry. I had someone cheering backstage. I was, yeah.
No, I have been on the phone. You guys would not even believe how many people I have called. Every day I am on the phone and I'm causing trouble every single place I can, wall to wall, coast to coast. I am.
You are the best.
Because you know why? Because you know how Trump says they're not after me, they're after you, and I'm just in their way. You know how Trump says that? Well, they're not after America. They're after the world, and America's the only thing that stands in their way.
That is true.
If they take America, they'll take the whole damn world. Every kid in it. I'm here for the kids. I'm here for the kids. I'm a grandmother. Everybody says, you raised me. You know, a lot of people come up and they go, you know, I am the woman I am today because you raised me. And I go, don't blame me that you're a hoe. Because a lot of them, I don't want to take credit. But I just feel like I'm... No, but I feel like I am a grandma, and to these people, they say, you know, you raised me and now my kids watch you. Well, that means something to me. Yeah. And I never would take that for granted. I never would. It means something to me. And so I want to, you know how Trump, we have MAGA and then RFK. We have MAHA, Make America Healthy Again. Isn't it great? Well, I'm launching one, Make America Moral Again. And it's called Mama. And what that means is no more double standards, America. No more double standards anywhere, because that means you don't have no standards. One law for everybody.
Amen.
And since I am like in the position to be America's grandmother now, by God, I'm going to do it. You know, I don't know why, this is from my act, but I do try to correct children when I see, you know, their parents don't even watch them these days. And so, you know, I will step in when I see. I do. I have to. And I challenge all other grandparents. You just have to. You probably can't get away with it like I can. But, you know, I just have to do it. I'm just a nosy old woman, and I feel like God wants me to do it. He wants me to do it like these kids were screaming in the hall in my hotel, you know. And no, but I do this. And my son said, you better stop it, Mother, because someone's going to sue you. But.
Well, what did you do?
Well, these two kids, it was the day of the football game Saturday, and these people was getting in the elevator, and they was all dressed. Their outfits were for the Baltimores. And.
The Baltimores.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And whatever. And so they get, I don't know. So they get in the elevator and the door closed, and there was these two, like, I guess they're like probably 12 and 13 boys. And when the elevator door closed, they go, "Cowboys!" Like that. They scream in the hall, you know. I'm going in the elevator. And just like reflex, because I think God wants me to be the world's Jewish grandmother. He does. Because it just came out of me. I go, "Shut up!" And I couldn't even believe I was doing it. And so they were real scared and turned around. And I go, "Do your parents know you're out here screaming in the hall?" "I bet they don't, do they?" "Where are your parents?" And they go, "Well, they're in the room." And I go, "I bet they don't know that you're out here screaming like this is somebody's yard. This is a nice hotel. You don't go screaming in the halls at a hotel." That's what they looked like, just like you. And so I said, you don't do that. So, you know, they didn't know who I was, so that was cool. And then, so the next day I go out, you know, and they're running in the hall this time. So I thought, out of hell with it. This is going to be fun. So, so I chased them. I start chasing them. It was so fun. I chased them down the hallway, and the one goes and hides behind this one door, you know. So I go and I pull the door open. I go, "I see ya." And then the other one goes this way and hides behind the elevator door. So I go over there and, you know, I say, "I see you too." And then, you know, they were real scared and stuff. And they didn't know that I heard them say each other's name. They didn't know that I had heard that. So I go, "You better watch it, Trey and Jordan." And they were like, and the elevator's door was closed just then. And the one kid looks, he goes, "How did she know our names?" So then I went down the lobby, and they were so scared or something. So anyways, the other elevator opens there, and they stick their heads out looking. They're like, "Who is that?" They don't know it's me, you know, Roseanne. And they're looking for that crazy woman, you know. And so I walk by and I go, "Get back up there!" So they close again.
You're definitely getting sued.
But, you know, I don't know. It's fun.
Wait, can I ask you? I'm just so grateful that the Roseanne I know from text is now in public. It's just so great. I think you're an amazing person. I've always thought that.
I want to say one more.
Yes.
Are we ending?
Well, I'm going to ask you one more big question.
Oh, because I got something at the end. Okay.
You can hit him if you want. I'm not judging. You can hit that if you want.
You know, they say that the cigarettes kill the spike proteins.
I think there's some evidence that that's true. But I'm not a physician, so I'm not going to. So...
Do you guys know how much I love you so much? I love you all so much. We're going to win. We're going to win. Don't you doubt it for a minute.
So you got my question. You anticipated it.
Oh.
You really think Trump's going to win?
I don't know what in the hell's going to happen. I mean, it could go so many different ways. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm being real honest.
But you seem hopeful despite, everything that you said.
Yeah, I'm hopeful because I know there's a God, and you know, God always wins.
Yeah.
I know he's trying to wake us up. I know he's playing some kind of game with us where it's like, no, that's not going to work anymore. You are going to have to repent. I think he's telling us, no, you're going to have to face what you did and say you're sorry and make, you know, recompense for it and come to me with a clean heart this time, because we're not playing games no more. This is it. You want to save your country, start with yourself. Start with loving each other and, you know, love me. You want to save your country, start there, start at home. I think that's what he's telling us.
I feel that so deeply. I think you're exactly right. Yes, I do. If you want to save your country, start with yourself. Tell the truth. And be real about it. Be rigorous about it.
And be brave.
Yeah.
Be braver than you've ever been in your life. Be brave. Brave till it hurts. Have courage. Even when you're shaking in your boots, do it anyway. Do it for God. Do it for Jesus. Do it for Jesus. You have to. There's no you. There's only God. Right?
My mind is completely blown. Ladies and gentlemen, will you join me in applauding Roseanne?
No, don't applaud. I got to tell you one more thing. No, don't. Wait, no. Shut up, everybody. No, I got to tell you this one thing. Because somebody was telling me, and so here's what I said. She said don't say it, but I'm saying it anyway. I was on the phone, and I said, you know what? We have to save ourselves. We have to do the work that Americans have to do. Like I gave this speech about Henry Knox. Did you ever hear about Henry Knox and Fort Ticonderoga? They dragged these cannons over ice with their feet. The leather of their shoes gave out, so they put rags on their feet to drag these cannons to get rid of the British. And they did it. It took them like 4 weeks to break these cannons down and drag them over ice, bleeding, and they got all the farmers involved to make sleds. All the farmers, everybody, every American of every walk of life got involved together to make the sleds to pull the cannons to surround Boston, to win the war. And that's what we have to do. We have to put rags around our feet, not just sit there on the internet. I'm telling you, we have to, you know, this is what I want to see happen. We've got to march. I think we have to march. I think we've got to get all the truckers in our country. I think we have to get all the farmers in our country. I think we have to get everybody who's so pissed off that they are going to try this shit again, and we're not going to let them. We have to say no. We have to say no, and they have to see us say no. They have to see us say no. We can't be coward. We can't go, oh, I'm afraid they're going to dox me or fire me or I'm not going to get a paycheck. Fuck it. We have to go. We have to go. I'm just putting it in your head. So if you hear about me organizing a great big friggin' march, think about coming.
And with that, can we applaud you now? Ladies and gentlemen, Roseanne Barr. The big tech companies censor our content. I hate to tell you that, it's still going on in 2024, but you know what they can't censor? Live events. And that's why we are hitting the road on a fall tour for the entire month of September, coast to coast. We will be in cities across the United States, will be in Greenville, South Carolina with Marjorie Taylor Greene, Sunrise, Florida with John Rich, Jacksonville, Florida with Donald Trump Jr. You can get tickets at tuckercarlson.com. Hope to see you there.